Welcome back to Flag on the Take. I'm your host, Cole Braban, and today is a little bit of a different episode compared to our others because today I am on a solo mission. Now, you may be asking, where's Unc? Where's J. Lou? Where's everyone's favorite podcast host? I know. I miss him too. Unc J. Lou, he's out on assignment right now. He's going to be joining us. We're going to do a second episode this week, bringing Jordan back. That will be coming out on Friday, but since we are releasing on Friday, couldn't give up on the people, couldn't forget to do it and have the typical Wednesday episode out. So here I am on solo, but we have a surprise guest coming in later to do some analysis in the NFL. I'm very excited for it. They're making their podcast debut for Flag on the Take, and so this is going to be a unique episode. You know, this is more of a one-off than how it's going to be going forward. Like I said, we couldn't give up on the people. We had to stay consistent with the content. So I'm on a solo mission today. Uncle Lou is out on assignment. And yeah, we're going to get into some recap and some analysis. So we're going to jump right in. NBA opening day is going on right now as I speak. And the Celtics are kicking the absolute shit out of the Knicks at home court. I mean, it's ugly. They're 30-piecing them as I see. And the Celtics could go for 160 tonight. They're at 113 at the end of the third quarter. I mean, they cannot miss. Tatum's got 8 threes, tying a career high. He's got 37. Holy shit. He's really going at it. Jason Tatum said coming into the season, and for those who listen to our NBA preview pod, that's my MVP pick. So I am going to be on that bandwagon from game 1, which is tonight. He has 37. Jason Tatum, 14 of 18, 8 of 11 from 3. Already has 10 assists too. Damn. See, Derek White chipping in with 24 points. Jaylen Brown chipping in with 18. He's 6 of 15, not as hot as Jason Tatum. Derek White shooting the lights out, though, 8 of 13, 6 of 10 from 3. The Celtics set the NBA record for most threes made on an opening night tonight. So, where are they at right now? 27 threes. Holy shit. And what's crazy is the Knicks aren't even playing bad. It's 119 to 89 right now as we speak. Or 119 to 91, excuse me, as they just made that shot. Mikal Bridges is shooting 5 of 11. He's not really playing too hot. I think he's got some jitters. Cat's 5 of 9 for 12. I mean, that's whatever. Brunson's 9 of 14 for 22. You know he's good for that. And Deuce McBride coming off the bench, 7 of 8 with 20 points. So, it's not like the Knicks have played poorly. The Celtics, they just know it's banner night, and they're playing like it too, because they're kicking the absolute shit out of them. But enough about that. We're going to get into some college football next. And let's start with the big one. Down goes Texas at home to Georgia. I watched that game with the love of my life, Haley, next to me, and we watched that game, and it was a shit show. I'm not going to lie to y'all. It was absolutely crazy because it was in Austin. They had college game day. You know, Matthew McConaughey, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker. The celebs were out, and Georgia did not care one bit. I didn't think Carson Beck played phenomenal. I just think Georgia's defense just made Quinn Ewers see ghosts. Quinn Ewers, I believe, is the headline in this game because Quinn did not do himself any favors for the Heisman race. I know he missed a couple weeks. That kind of dropped him out of the Heisman race. But he could have came back if he balled out, and he did not. 25 of 43 for 211. And honestly, lucky he even has that much, to be honest, because he did not play good. They even benched him for a series at the end of the second quarter. They put Arch in, and he was running for his life as well for just one series. I think that going to Arch, they did that to kind of let Quinn reset going into the half, because Arch only went 3 of 6 for 19 yards. What's crazy was that Texas's O-line, they might as well not have even been playing with an O-line because they were running around for their lives the entire game. Quinn was under constant duress. Arch came in, you know, he's a little bit more mobile. He was under constant duress. They couldn't really run the football. They only averaging 3.5 yards per carry with their RB1. The receivers weren't really getting separation. I mean, Texas just didn't look like the number one team in the country. So, shout out to Georgia. You know, they've been there, done that. Multiple national championships under Kirby Smart, a Saban disciple. And they just went in there. I mean, Trevor Etienne, 19 carries, 87 yards, 3 tuds on the ground. Whew. Carson Beck. like I said, did not play well at all either. So they kicked Texas's ass in spite of Carson Beck, because Carson Beck had 3 picks. I honestly forgot he had 3 picks. That was, for everyone saying that he's a Heisman, he should be in the Heisman race and is a first-round pick, just stop it. Carson Beck is not a first-round pick. Okay, you can say, that's like kind of like saying Stetson Bennett was a first-round pick. Okay, just because he plays for Georgia and is QB1 for the best team in the country does not mean he is a first-round pick. I'm sorry. Okay, Georgia, I know their plan. They recruited Dylan Raiola initially, and they had that. That was the plan. Him and Carson Beck had that QB competition. Raiola flips, goes to Nebraska. So I know Georgia got left high and dry in terms of a quarterback, but still, Carson Beck is not the answer. Georgia's just that good of a football team. Texas drops in the rankings. Georgia moves up, obviously. So we got Oregon, the new number 1. Honestly, I don't even know how to feel about that because Oregon hasn't really wowed me. They kicked the shit out of Purdue this week, winning 35-0 on the road, which, I mean, good for them, but it is Purdue who's 1-6. I mean, let's not sit here and act like it was Georgia that they were playing. I mean, they were expected to rout Purdue 35-0. So, Dylan Gabriel, 21-25, 290 yards, 2 tuds. I mean, he's okay. He doesn't move the needle for me. Obviously, I don't think he's getting drafted, and I quite frankly don't believe that he should win the Heisman either. I know some people he's moving up the Heisman rankings, but I personally don't believe in that. But yeah, so Oregon's our new number 1, and that was my natty pick going into the season. My preseason national championship pick was the Oregon Ducks. I'm not entirely thrilled about their performance, even though they are the number 1 team in the country. Like I know they beat Ohio State. I get it. Texas lost to Georgia at home. They beat Ohio State at home. I get it, but it's just they don't. When I watch them play football, they don't move the needle for me. Like when I watch them take the field, they don't pass the eye test for me. They don't walk on the field and I'm like, damn, that's the number 1 team in the country, no questions asked. When they walk on the field, I'm like, all right. I mean, they're top 10, they're talented, but they feel like they're missing something for me. So I don't know if it's, the uninspiring quarterback play, because the running back's a dog. That's definitely not the problem. Defense has been solid so far. I mean, obviously they held Ohio State, but we'll see where this goes. I'm excited for Oregon. They haven't been this good in a while. I know they were good last year with Bo Nix, but they weren't this good. Last year they lost twice to Washington, but this year Oregon's number 1 team in the country with Georgia coming in at 2, and I honestly thought Georgia was going to be number 1, considering that they beat Texas at Texas. But I understand Oregon's undefeated, so they have to be number 1. Yeah, what bullshit, whatever. Penn State is 3. Now, I have not watched much Penn State ball this season, so forgive me on that. But Penn State, they haven't really wowed me either. It's kind of more of like, who have you really played? I'm excited to see them play Ohio State and to get into some of the teeth of their schedule later this season. I think Penn State will show their true colors. I like Drew Aller, I really do, but I don't know if he's a top 3 team in the country type quarterback. So, and plus James Franklin, everyone knows about James Franklin. So, that'll be interesting to see as we move on. Down goes Alabama, or should we say Tennessee picks up a massive dub against Alabama. You can word it however you want, but Tennessee moves up to number 7 in the country. Nico Iamaleava, he got injured in the game. He missed a couple plays. Actually, the guy who came in for Nico actually threw a pick, so that was funny. But Nico, he looked like he was running for his life. I mean, he didn't look like he was having a fun time back there. I thought that game could have went either way, but I'm just going to edit this out. No, it's just, I'm on my hotspot. Yeah, so Tennessee at home brings in the 7 seed Bama, and they win 24-17. Like I said, the offense didn't really wow me. The defense looked like they kind of held them more into the game. I mean, Nico went 14-27 for 194, a tud and a pick. But I don't think Nico should be the story of why Tennessee won this game. I think Dylan Sampson needs to be the story. That guy is an absolute weapon. 26 carries for 139, 2 tuds. That dude's a problem. I've been watching him over the past few weeks, and he's slowly been moving up on the radar for me. Dylan Sampson's, he's an absolute weapon. And I think Tennessee is able to play Nico and be okay with him having some subpar performances because he's a freshman, because Dylan Sampson is that good, and because Dylan Sampson can carry the offense. I mean, when you're picking up 5 yards of carry on the ground against friggin' Bama, I mean, that's crazy. Also, Jalen Milroe did not have that good of a game. So shout out Tennessee's defense, like I said, holding Bama in check. Jalen Milroe, 25 of 45 for 239, a tud and 2 INTs. He didn't wow me. You know, I'm a big Jalen Milroe guy. I think he's going to be a first-round pick. Hell, I think he might even be a top 10 pick in the NFL because of his speed and his athleticism and his big arm. But he did not wow me. He's had a couple stinkers this season, so that's going to probably hurt his draft stock. But I think that's actually will be good for him in the pros because he needs a team that will actually work with him and fully develop him as a passer. So might be better for him that he falls in the draft a little bit, end up with a good team. But yeah, Alabama, this is not your father's Alabama, as I like to say, because Nick Saban, he might have lost this game, but he damn sure would not have lost that Vandy game. I mean, Nick Saban never lost. I shouldn't say never, because obviously he did in his career. He wasn't perfect, but it was extremely rare that he lost to lesser teams. Now, this was a tough team. Obviously, Saban lost to Tennessee a couple years ago. I get it. But Kalen DeBoer is not Nick Saban. Wow. Who's surprised? Because I'm not. Nick Saban is, he's the freaking GOAT. So obviously Kalen DeBoer is not going to be as good as Nick Saban. So, like I said before on the pod, I think everyone needs to stop expecting Bama to be the number 1 team in the country. They need to expect Bama under Kalen DeBoer. This is a new era. He's going to have new recruits. He's going to have a new scheme, a new offense. This is not your father's Bama. So I think this Bama is going to be 5-10. And like every so often, they'll be the number 1 team in the country, but it's not going to be often. It's not going to be like under Saban where it was every single friggin' year. And that's okay. Like I said before, if you told me North Carolina was going to be 5-10 every single year in football, I would sign yesterday for that. I would absolutely love to have that problem. You know, all right, fine, Bama, you don't want Kalen DeBoer? Tell him to pack his shit and go to North Carolina, go to Chapel Hill. I'll be waiting there grinning from ear to ear. I would love to have Kalen DeBoer as the coach of my college football team. So, this isn't a bash on Kalen DeBoer. This is just more of like setting expectations. Realizing that expectations need to be tampered a little bit. You are going from the GOAT. You know, it's extremely hard to go to be the guy after the guy. No one ever wants to be the guy after the guy. That's the phrase. So, Kalen DeBoer, a phenomenal coach, but he's the guy after the guy. So, obviously, there's going to be some struggles. And plus, it's his first freaking year. I mean, he hasn't even had his first recruiting class with Bama yet. And he lost a shit ton of starters, whether it was transfer portal or to the NFL draft. So, I would give Kalen DeBoer 2-3 years at Bama, see where it gets to. But until further notice, Bama shouldn't be expected to be higher than the 5th best team in the country. Moving on, Colorado played Arizona this past weekend. Now, that was a little under the radar. Not everyone really tuned in or was very into that game, but there was over 20 teams that sent scouts to this game. Yes, 20 teams sent scouts to this game, and it was for one player's matchup. Any guesses? That's right. Travis Hunter versus, God, I'm going to butcher his name, I'm sorry, Tatarioa McMillan. Now, McMillan, he finished with 5 catches for 38 yards, no touchdowns. So, in my book, it sounds like Travis Hunter won that. Just saying. Colorado kicked the shit out of Arizona, 34-7. Arizona's quarterback, 16-26, a ton and interception. Wasn't too hot. McMillan only had 5 catches, like I said. Now, granted, Travis Hunter, he only had 2 catches for 17 yards, but they were playing so well. I mean, there was no point to have him in there when he wasn't needed. But he shut down McMillan, straight up. So I think this hurts McMillan's draft stock a little bit. I think this already makes Travis Hunter, as if he wasn't already the first player off of the board that was a non-QB. I've been saying that for months. Whoever's the first non-QB, it's going to be Travis Hunter. I've been saying Travis Hunter to the Patriots. Am I biased in that regard? Yes, because I want to see him play with my boy Drake Maye in the NFL. So, a little biased in that regard, but I do genuinely think Travis Hunter will be the first non-QB off the board. Not biased. But that was a great game. It was an electric matchup. Travis Hunter, 1, McMillan, 0. Speaking of electricity, Miami once again survives a near upset to remain perfect in the ACC, just barely getting by Louisville in Louisville. Once again, looks like Miami. Yeah, this was a dogfight from the start. I didn't really watch this game as much as I should have. I kind of just watch tape on the back end, but I was spending most of my time watching Tennessee, Bama, Georgia, Texas, etc., etc. But Cam Ward continuing his Heisman race. I know Jorlu is very happy about that. We'll probably get into that a little bit more on Friday. But hey, Cam Ward played good. Four touchdowns, no interceptions, 319 yards, 93 QBR. Played good. Not really much to say about that. I mean, more like just throwing this in there just because I know Jordan would want to talk about it. But Miami is going to win the ACC. I don't see them blowing it at this point. They're 3-0 in the conference, 7-0 already on the season. I don't see Miami blowing this. Now, do I think they're going to go deep in the college football playoff? Maybe. I don't know. It's going to be a tough matchup, depending on who they get. Miami's going to be a tough out. And whoever they play, it's going to come down to the wire because Miami does not know how to blow teams out. But it really just depends on who they play. Because if they draw like a 5th seed Bama, they're cooked. I'm just going to put it that way. If they got to play one of them SEC dogs, they're cooked. But if they can somehow manage to get one of those 10, 11, 12 seeds, then obviously I do think they will be moving on. But once again, another electric game from the Miami Hurricanes. They seem to be must-watch TV, so I got to do a better job of watching those games live. But yeah, shout out to them. Shout out to Cam Ward. Moving on. All right. Another game I did watch at noon. Indiana absolutely stomped Nebraska. I thought Nebraska was legit coming into this year. I didn't have them pick to win anything, but I did have them as like an 11th seed in the playoffs. I actually thought they had a legit shot, but whew, they went to Bloomington and they got that ass whooped. And Kurt Signetti was going around. Everyone was telling him, "Oh, who has Indiana really played? Oh, Cupcake 6-0. Can't call them Cupcake now." That was a tough Nebraska squad, and Indiana did not even have their quarterback. Didn't even have their quarterback for the whole second half. Granted, they were up 28-7 at that point, but still kept the pedal to the metal with their backup quarterback. They made Dylan Raiola look like a freshman throwing 3 picks. I mean, Kurt Signetti, hey, Google him. All he does is win. I don't know how this guy doesn't have a job at a top tier program, because I get it, he's in his 60s, but he's one of those football guys who will coach till the day he dies. So, Indiana, shout out to them being smart and swooping in and getting an elite level coach just because some people think he's old. Kurt Signetti, Coach Sig, what an absolute dog. I would run through a wall for that guy. He's one of those, like, he gives me like Dan Campbell vibes. Not like bite your kneecap off, but just more like in your face. I'm gonna punch you in the mouth. I'm gonna go to your stadium and I'm gonna kick your ass in your own stadium. So he gives me that kind of vibes. And to quote the legendary Kirk Cousins, walk in your trap, take over your trap. That's Kurt Signetti's mindset. So Indiana, they're getting College Game Day for the first time ever this weekend. So Indiana is absolutely buzzing right now. I'm excited to see this. They could sneak into the playoffs. Just saying. I'm not 100% familiar with who they have left on their schedule. They could sneak into the playoffs. So just watch out for them. And this next segment is for my boy Britton. Britton, you guys and Navy, you guys got a tough matchup this weekend. I know I'm shouting out Britton because I know he's going to be at the game. But the 12th ranked Notre Dame faces the 24th ranked Navy midshipmen at MetLife. Now, am I going to give an actual prediction on this game? No. But what I will say is this. If Navy is going to make the playoffs, They not only have to beat Notre Dame, they can't just like walk it off or Notre Dame plays like shit. Like they have to make Notre Dame play like shit, and they got to go in there and they got to assert their dominance. And I think Navy can do that because I think Notre Dame's run defense is suspect. So Navy's just got to do what Navy knows how to do and just pound the football and play good defense, play smart football. I really think Notre Dame's gettable. I know they're the 12th ranked team in the country, but Navy I think can get Notre Dame. I really do think they're gettable. But for Navy's sake, they need to hope. Obviously, they need to whoop ass on Notre Dame. But actually, and hear me out, Navy. I know this is going to sound crazy, but I'll explain. Navy needs to hope that Notre Dame then turns around and then kicks the shit out of Army. But then they need to hope that Army wins out. And here's why. So they need Notre Dame to win against Army, obviously, so they have a leg up against Army. But then Notre Dame looks like a better win to the College Football Playoff Committee. And that's why they need Army to win out. So then when they play Army in the conference championship, then Army looks like a better win to the committee. And this is all so Navy can somehow get that 12th seed and get into the college football playoffs. I'm not saying it's a big chance, but to quote Dumb and Dumber, I'm telling you there's a chance. Alright, speaking of there is a chance, Drake Maye, there is a very, very, very highly good chance Drake Maye is the truth. Now, I know, okay, I know the Patriots got that ass beat in London, and Drake Maye just never studied history a day in his life, saying that people in England should root for New England because England is in the name, acting like New England did not have a whole war with that country of England 300 years ago. But we're not gonna get into that. I don't care if Drake Maye knows history. I care if Drake Maye can play ball, and he did good. I don't think he looked bad. 26 of 37 for 276 and 2 tuds. I don't think he was the reason they lost that game. Now, do I think he fell apart in the second half? Sure. I don't think he played as good in the second half as he did the first. Do I think the defense is what screwed them over? Yes. I do think the defense is what screwed over the Patriots in that game. I mean, it is Jacksonville, who was 1-5 heading into the game. It's not like it was this top-tier offense. It's not like they were playing the Ravens or the Bills or the Chiefs. It was the Jaguars, okay? So, let's hold our horses here. But Drake Maye's a star. Give him Travis Hunter. Give him a couple years of experience. Give him an actual team around him. Drake Maye could be the best quarterback out of this class. I had to go higher register there, but I really do think Drake Maye could be a top 8 quarterback someday. Not saying he's top 5 or going to be MVP or any of that shit, but definitely think he could be top 8. I think he could be special. I think he could be the best quarterback to ever play for the Patriots, not named Tom Brady. So, just saying. But speaking of things that I'm just saying, how about them Detroit football Lions? Down go the Minnesota Vikings in their home stadium to leave one remaining undefeated team in the NFL. That is the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, make me want to throw up. But this is not about the dumbass Chiefs. This is about the brand new Lions. Detroit football Lions, man. They went in there, and that was a crazy game, too. It was back and forth. It was tight late, but they went in there, and they got it done. And they set the upset. Shout out to Jake Bates. Went from the XFL to the NFL, and he just walked it off for Detroit in Minnesota. Jared Goff, and I'm going to say it with my chest, Jared Goff is the NFL MVP through 7 weeks currently. I mean, the only other argument is Lamar Jackson, and I guarantee you they have voter fatigue with Lamar. And Jared Goff has been nearly perfect. He was perfect one game, but he's been nearly perfect for 3 games. So, Jared Goff, he keeps playing like this, it's going to be no-brainers. Lions, if they are the number 1 seed, then they are one. Jared Goff's 100% going to be MVP. God forbid an injury. But, yeah, Jared Goff's playing like an MVP. He's no longer Jared Goof. Those days are long gone. Speaking of long gone, the Knicks just lost 132-109 at the hands of the Boston Celtics. They played like reigning champions, but we're past the NBA. That we'll save NBA talk. That's more for Friday as well. We'll get into some more NBA talk. While the Knicks and Celtics were not a thriller, you know what was a thriller? The Packers and the Texans. A last-second thriller. C.J. Stroud, he played like absolute crap. Just gonna have to, I don't know how else to word it. He played like absolute crap. 10 of 21, not even 100 yards. No tuds, no picks, sacked 4 times. This has to be easily one of the worst games, if not the worst game of his NFL career so far. I get it, he was under duress the whole time, but damn, dude. I mean, you're supposed to be top 5. When's the last time you seen a top 5 quarterback play like that? But, yeah. I think this was the game of the week. This and the Lions-Vikings. A lot of the action happened in the first half. Both teams kind of got stifled by each other's defenses in the second half. But Green Bay Packers, congratulations. You actually have this thing called a kicker now. Pretty cool, isn't it? They finally got a kicker in there, and thank God, because they needed one to walk it off. So, happy for them. I think the Packers are legit. They could go to the NFC Championship game this year. So I am happy for them on that front. I still think the Texans are elite, and I still think they're going to go far in the playoffs. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is God is good, and karma is a bitch for Deshaun Watson. I'm going to leave it at that. I could sit here and go for 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes about Deshaun Watson, but I'm not. Because I think all of you know exactly where I would go. So I'm just going to leave it at that. If Jordan wants to get into that on Friday, then I will gladly elaborate on my thoughts. But I will leave that food for thought for you guys. Because I'm just going to leave it at that. God is good. And karma is a bitch. Alright, moving on to the afternoon slate. It was a load of crap. I don't know how else to word it. I mean, these games were bad. Rams and Raiders was a snooze fest. The Chiefs and Niners were supposed to be the best game of the week, and that was terrible because the Niners are literally falling apart at the seams. Brandon Ayuk, done for the year with a torn ACL, torn MCL. Deebo Samuel had friggin' pneumonia. Still don't have Christian McCaffrey. Jordan Mason's still a little banged up. Jawan Jennings was out, surprisingly. So it was Ricky Pearsall, George Kittle with a sprained foot, and a semi-hurt Jordan Mason and Brock Purdy just casually taking on the freaking Kansas City Chiefs. So, that game went about as good as you could have expected it to go, even though it was in San Francisco. So, I don't really have much to say about that game. The Chiefs are the Chiefs. Until they lose, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. Doesn't matter how bad Mahomes plays. Doesn't matter how old Travis Kelce looks. The Chiefs are the Chiefs. They just keep getting away with it. I'm so tired of talking about them. They're honestly on the Patriots level for me at this point. It's just ruining our fun every weekend and every season. So I don't care who it is. I just want somebody to take them down. But now, earlier in the pod, I teased that we had a special guest coming on later in the podcast. So without further ado, we have a woman of spicy takes, an absolute badass in the kitchen, and for some reason loves the Steelers, but god damn it, she's the love of my life. Haley, welcome onto the pod.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for coming on the pod. So normally, Jordan, Unc Jorlu, is our Steelers correspondent, but like I said, he is out on assignment today. So he will be back for our special Friday episode coming out. But for now, I have another Steelers fan. That is right, folks. The love of my life is a Steelers fan, and you all know my feelings about the Ravens and about the Steelers, and I thought it'd be a great idea to spend the rest of my life with a Steelers fan. So,
and I could say the same thing about you, but
that's great. So, we're actually going to get into this. So, the Steelers faced the New York Jets on Sunday Night Football. Devontae Adams' debut. Jeff Ulbrich, the interim head coach for the Jets. And Russell Wilson making his Yinzer debut. So go ahead and just give your thoughts, any analysis you got, and how you feel about the team going forward.
Well, at first I was a little worried with Russ coming in. He was a little slow to start, but, I mean, by the end of the game, you got to give it to him. 3 touchdowns, I mean, biggest plays we've seen.
I'm not giving him shit.
I mean, that's the biggest plays we've seen all season. And yes, everyone is saying Pickens and Muth bailed him out. But at the same time, Fields wasn't throwing like that. But I will say, I don't think he had the same opportunities because of his arm isn't as accurate. But, I mean, I'm going to take it how I can get it. A win's a win. And, I mean, that's the most points we've put up all season. So I can't complain about that. But we'll see what Russ brings us in the next few weeks. Hopefully, it only gets better and not worse. But I'm not going to get my hopes up yet.
Even though the Jets' defense is falling apart at the seams.
Well, that's not my issue.
And shout out to your boy Beanie Bishop getting his first 2 interceptions, which, by the way, Aaron Rodgers did confirm today that he will sign the footballs.
Oh, I love that for him. Yeah, I mean, I've been saying for quite a few weeks now when we've been watching the games together that he's looked pretty good. He's had some rookie mistakes, but that's a given. But, I mean, he balled out on that game. You cannot take anything away from that.
Yeah, I can vouch for that. She's been very high on Beanie Bishop from day one, and it was nice to see him ball out on prime time. Are you Team Justin or Team Russell or Team to be determined?
It's still TBD. I think I would be more for Fields. Like, I love Fields, don't get me wrong, but if he had the same chances, like, throwing the ball downfield like Russ does, then it would be easier to say who I'd rather have. But if Russ gets the go-ahead to throw them deep balls, then do it.
So, in my opinion, I don't believe Russ is going to get his first actual challenge because I don't think the Jets' defense is playing up to their standards. They have the New York Football Giants on Monday Night Football. That's a snoozer. And then they got the Commanders, who, yes, they are an absolute wagon, but that defense is suspect. So, Russell Wilson's first test, in my opinion, will be after 4 weeks against the Ravens in Pittsburgh. So,
I think that will be the hardest matchup, but you have to also, like, I mean, the Steelers' line is screwed right now.
So if Russell Wilson lights up the next 3 weeks and then stinks it up against the Ravens, an actual defense, what do you think?
I'm not going to be happy, but
You going to be calling for his head?
I feel like no matter who we were to start at quarterback against a good defense like that, like it would probably end up the same way.
So
I don't think one of them outshines the other that much. Like, yes, Justin can move, but Russ can throw. So it's tough.
So who do you think gives you a better chance to win a Super Bowl this year?
This year, that's hard. It's not fair because we've only seen one game of Russ. You'd have to ask me that like a couple weeks from now.
Oh, no, that's sports media, baby. This is how this works.
It's not fair that I've seen so many weeks of Justin and one game of Russ.
I mean, to be fair, Yinzers did boo him after a quarter.
Yeah, because he came out looking like
ass.
Well,
he looked like ass.
You said it for me. But he heated up towards the end.
I think Pickens and Freiermuth bailed him out, but that's just me personally.
I also want to say how Devontae Adams lost to the Steelers when he was a Raider, and then he comes back, goes to the Jets, loses again to the Steelers, back to back. He is not having a good time.
And that is why Mike Tomlin is well compensated.
Favorite clip from that press conference.
And Najee Harris is going to get the biggest fine of all time.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy. He has back-to-back games with touchdowns, though.
Najee Harris is your favorite Steeler, yeah?
Him and Freiermuth. And I'm really big on Herbig.
Yeah, you have been a Nick Herbig fan from day one. Is it Nick or Nate? Nick Herbig.
Nate's the one that played center and then got hurt.
Yeah, been big on Nick Herbig from day one, so shout out to you for that as well. But yeah, Najee Harris, if you haven't seen it, look it up. If I said that, this podcast would be canceled. So that should give you an indication of what was said in that press conference. It was hilarious as hell, though, but he is going to get fined probably like $50,000.
Yeah.
But any other takeaways from this game for you look forward to your next matchup?
I'm just excited to see what else they got in store for us.
You're going to beat the shit out of the Giants, right?
If they don't, I might not watch football for the rest of the season.
So if you win like 20-17.
Okay. If we just put up, what was it, 37 points?
Yeah.
Against the Jets?
Yeah.
If we don't come close to that against the Giants, I'm walking out.
So 17-14 final score. You're pissed?
Yes. Because the Jets are a better team than the Giants.
Even though you won.
Yes. It's like you and the Ravens.
Yes, that is fair. Just got to get my point across.
Well, it's because, like I said, the Jets are a better team than the Giants, so we should outplay them.
Will you be calling for Justin Fields?
If Russ sucks?
If you win 17-14 against the Giants.
Well, that depends on how everything goes, because you can't always blame the quarterback.
He was ass, but let a field goal at the last second.
I mean, Justin had one game where he didn't put up any touchdowns, so...
All right, that's enough of me trolling. What? Stay tuned. We may or may not be in attendance for the Steelers and Commanders game. That is still to be determined, but it is potentially on the table. But any other Steelers thoughts and analysis before we move on?
I think that's all.
Do you want to hang around for another segment?
Our defense is still elite.
Can confirm. You want to hang around for another segment?
Sure.
All right, moving on to Haley's other favorite football team, the Baltimore Ravens.
So, I mean, I get to shit on them now?
Pretty much, yeah. So, time for my Ravens analysis. You notice how every time we start this segment, it always starts with a sigh? Like, yes, grand scheme of things. Are we winning football games? Yes, we are winning football games. What? Damn it, ugly as hell, man. Why can't we just beat the hell out of them? Like, we were up by, 24 points. And that finished as a 10-point game. Why? Why can't we just put people away? We had a 24-point lead going into the fourth quarter. Why can't we just put fools away? You know? Why does it always got to give me heart palpitations? Why?
Your defense decides to go to bed on the field.
No, they for real shit the bed. They count the chickens before they hatch. It's stupid. I don't get it. But Lamar freaking Jackson, man. He's always been the one positive. Him and Derrick Henry have always been the one positives that I have. And they did it again. Lamar Jackson, 5. Count them. 5 passing touchdowns. Oh, Lamar can't throw. Oh, Lamar's a running back. I saw a stat today. Lamar Jackson has the same amount of 5+ touchdown passes and no interceptions. Career games. Lamar Jackson now has 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those. You know who he's tied with? Aaron Rodgers, who first ballot Hall of Famer. Peyton Manning, second greatest quarterback of all time. Ben Roethlisberger, another first ballot Hall of Famer. So,
I was wondering if you had anything nice to say about
I'll call a spade a spade. He's a Hall of Famer. The only 2 people who have more than him, Drew Brees and Tom freaking Brady. Oh, Lamar can't throw the football. He's an RB. Lamar B. Shut the hell up. Lamar Jackson is an elite passer of the football. It can no longer be denied, ever. Lamar Jackson is a quarterback, and he is faster than your favorite team's wide receiver. So, sucks to be you guys. Happy to be me. Superman wears number 8. Been saying that for years. But offensive line's been getting a little bit better. Derrick Henry doing Derrick Henry shit. I had another monster run. Should have been a touchdown, but that dude came all the way over from the other side of the field and pushed him out of bounds. I was kind of pissed, to be honest. I honestly wanted Derrick to get it. But started out slow. We got hot. We pulled away. Got cold at the end. They came back. Shout out Baker Mayfield, never giving up. I love Baker, but I didn't love him last night. I can tell you that much. But moving on next week, we are at the Cleveland Browns with Jameis Winston at the helm. That'll be fun. I love Jameis, but not next week. So we should kick the shit out of them. I'm worried because it's a divisional game. I'm always worried about divisional games, no matter how bad they are. But I'm expecting another W here.
What are your thoughts about facing Chubb? He's back.
Yes, Nick Chubb is awesome, but the Ravens pride themselves on run defense.
Not last night.
I know.
With their 3-headed monster.
Bro, I know, okay? Jeez. I know. They're supposed to be...
2 of them being rookies last night.
They're supposed to be a top 5 running defense, okay? So, we'll see. I mean, it'll help because we should be able to put 8 in the box because they're not going to be able to pass against us. So...
I mean, when was the last time Jameis even played? It's been a while.
Sometime last year, right? Who did he play?
Didn't he get injured?
Who did he play for last year? The Saints?
Was it still the Saints?
Then he definitely played last year.
But he was injured. Didn't he get injured?
He might have.
He's always hurt. I don't know.
Yeah, but either way, I'm confident next week. But all right. This is gonna wrap up the episode this week. The Lakers are getting ready to tip off with Bronny's debut in the NBA, so stay tuned to that analysis. You want to talk about Roquan? All right. Overruled. What about him?
What do you think about what's going on right now?
I think it was a football play.
Oh, come on. That was not a football play.
I mean, it was a football play. I mean, it could have been a cleaner football play.
Okay. I have an unpopular opinion. Well,
oh boy, here we go.
I don't know how unpopular it is, but I think Roquan is a dirty player.
He just plays whistle to whistle.
Oh, you just go, so he has grit, then he needs to go to the Lions.
He does have grit.
No, he's a dirty player. He always lays dirty hits. He hurts so many people. Also, the Bucks lost their 2 top receivers yesterday because of you guys.
To be fair, Mike Evans came in with a hammy problem.
Yeah, but what about Godwin?
That was just unfortunate.
And who did that?
He shouldn't have been in the game at that point, in my opinion, but I digress.
To be fair, if they were making that, I don't think they could have made the full comeback, but they were making a comeback. And you can't do that unless you got your top guys in.
Touche. I mean, Roquan's going to catch a fine. I don't think he's going to get suspended, but
I don't like Roquan.
I don't expect you to. You didn't like Patrick Queen last year either, and now look at you.
I didn't like him because of certain plays against the Steelers when we went and saw that game.
And
it was personal.
And now you love him.
Well, now he's not tackling my guys.
So you would love Roquan if he wore black and gold.
No, I don't like Roquan. He's a dirty player.
Allegedly.
We can go back and forth on this. That's like saying Max Crosby isn't a dirty player.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, he's not dirty as long as he plays for me, so.
No comment.
Anything else you want to get into before we wrap this up?
No, I just wanted to bring that up because he's getting fined.
Anything else?
No.
All right. As I was saying earlier, Lakers and Timberwolves are about to tip off. We're going to see Ant-Man. We're going to see Bronny James' debut. We're going to see a little bit of history tonight. So thank you all for tuning in to the solo pod. Like I said, Jorlou was out on assignment this week, so he will be back. Like I mentioned earlier, we will be having a Friday episode, another twofer for the week this week for the people. We are pumping out content left and right. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, follow at Flag on the Take on Instagram and TikTok. Thank you for listening to me ramble for the past 45-ish minutes. And we will be back. Everyone's favorite host will be back next episode. So, for Cole, thank you, Miss Hizzy, for coming on the pod, giving your thoughts.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime. Trust me, you will be back again at some point. So, thank you. And for Haley, I'm Cole. We'll catch you all on Friday. See ya.